back. Part 2 of the SLC reunion just dropped. And Ashley, what were your thoughts? What was your rating?
I'm gonna give it a 3.5,
Yeah,
same as last time. I mean, we did have some movement, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking. But I do
no.
think a lot of stones were turned.
Agreed. And I think part 2 is always tee up, obviously, for the part 3. And Bravo tends to put, the bulk of the drama in part 3. I hope you don't hear outside right now. There's like so many sirens going off. They're coming
Oh,
to talk about Salt Lake City. That's what they're doing.
they are like, okay, who is behind this account?
Exactly. So I'm gonna agree. 3.5 probably 3-ish for me on terms of rating. But speaking of account, I thought the Whitney Rose, I'm gonna give her flowers for that because the idea of trying to figure out who the secret account was by pretending to reset the password and then the password going to the phone number associated with the account is so freaking smart.
Yeah, put her on the
So
traders.
smart. Put her on
Yeah,
the traders, yeah.
I welcome Whitney Rose into the castle. I was like, you know what? That was such a smart play.
It
So
was.
does that mean you believe that Lisa is somehow behind that Candace, was it Candace?
Candace something or other, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. So here's the thing. I didn't fact check this because Lisa said back to that you put in the phone number to have the reset password sent to. So I haven't tried to like reset my password today, so I don't know if Lisa's correct in that. So TBD. What about you?
Interesting. Well, just from the way it came off and Lisa just screaming liar, the fact I don't know. I really have a hard time believing her right now, just
Yeah,
in general.
fair.
Loved her on Worst Cooks, loved her.
Yeah, true. But I just can't imagine Lisa having a fake account. Let
I
me
don't see her
rephrase.
doing
Let me
that.
rephrase. I think all celebrities or reality TV stars, for the most part, I would say 88% of them probably have a Finsta. And if you don't know what a Finsta is, it's just an account that you use to be able to like stalk things, especially if you're of like notoriety. You can't necessarily stalk people on like Khloe Kardashian's account. You know what I mean? So
Right.
people do have Finstas and whatnot. That said, I don't know that Lisa has one to be malicious toward the cast. I just don't see her doing that.
I don't see that either. What I in if there was a world where somebody was like shady and being funny and like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so funny if I did this? And it was kind of a somebody else's hand is really in the pot stirring it, but she kind of knows about it. I think there's a world where there's some truth in that.
Totally. Could I see? But like, again, it wasn't like a Bravo fan account. It was just a random person named Candace. So, like, could some reality stars have Bravo accounts that they are friendly with?
Right.
100%.
Of
Yes.
course. Of
A
course.
million
Candace
percent.
Story, which I just found the last name funny. Story.
Yeah.
Candace Story.
So I'm just like, this is weird. I don't know. I could be convinced either way. I'm not 100% sold by this. I will say to what's her name, Angie K's benefit, it is weird that that account commented or said something about Electra's birthday, and then almost instantly Lisa was like, "Happy birthday, Electra." So I agreed. That's
Uh,
weird. That's weird.
it's weird, but in a court of law, that would be circumstantial evidence to where she would not be put away for that. But that, with enough circumstantial evidence, could lead a jury. So I definitely think that that's a very, very valid piece of information that doesn't look great for Lisa.
It doesn't. A lot of this reunion, to your point, doesn't look good for Lisa. It really doesn't. But also when it's like everybody against her and Meredith, I don't know how it could.
Exactly. But at the same time, it kind of got to this way because of for a reason. And the reason it's gotten to this point is because they've allowed themselves to be so isolated
Yeah.
by not compromising with the group and being more open about certain things. Like they've practically begged of them for years.
Agreed.
So I think the truth is somewhere in the middle,
Oh, 100%. I don't think
which it usually is. But I
I
tend to lead towards everyone else.
yeah, I don't think Heather's side of the couch is completely victims in this. I think Angie K is just as bad, in my opinion, as Lisa Barlow. I just think people like Angie a little better because she does the same thing. She's just as vicious as Lisa is. She cuts just as deep as Lisa does.
Mhm.
So I don't think Angie's a victim. I don't think anyone on this cast is a victim. I don't think anyone
No,
on Bravo's a victim. Let's start
no.
there.
Let's just say that I don't think anybody's side of the street is totally clean. Period.
Totally. Where do you want to go next?
I feel like there were some things. I think it was interesting that Mary stayed on Lisa's
Not
neck about.
Electra screaming.
Sorry, I was just looking at the
No,
notes
it's fine.
here. I was just looking at Mary. She stayed on Lisa's neck about not having
Totally.
Meredith, and I think that's another reason. Like when Mary gets involved, because of course it's going to be Angie versus Lisa. We're going to
Right.
have Heather versus this team. When Mary gets involved, I feel like there's kind of shift in the conversation in that there's like kind of a grown up, a responsible person, a mediator,
Yeah.
Mary M. Cosby, as Andy said in the reunion. So I think that said a lot that she wouldn't let Lisa off the hook. And they kept on, and they brought it up a few times. People, myself included, people here, I still, if somebody had that hot mic moment about me saying that
Right.
I boned half of New York, I mean, the things that were said in that rant, I admire, like Andy Cohen, I admire that they were able to get past it. It just feels that like they
You
got past.
marvel at it,
I
huh?
marvel at it. I do marvel at it, but I have to wonder, were they able to get to that point because they had an agreement moving forward that they would die hard for each other? That's how it
Probably.
looks. That's how it feels.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. And I don't think there's an issue with that
No,
personally.
because sometimes you need an ally. At the same time, though, I don't see anything wrong with it. Have your ride or die. I think that's a beautiful thing. But when it's like being married, you have each other's back in the situation, but behind the scenes, you got to check that boo. Who's going to check you, boo? It's got to be your partner.
No, I agree
And
100%.
they need to check each other rather than like I saw somebody, I wish I remembered the account who said it. It's like those t two dumb biatches saying,
Exactly.
right on, exactly, exactly to each
No,
other.
100%.
That's how it is. They need to check each other. And that would be, I think, a really good step just with everybody, their cast, the fans, for me at least.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they also, to your point about a married couple, I think they take the strategy of agree in front of people, correct behind closed doors. Because
Exactly.
I would never go into any housewife show without having a ride or die ally. Like, I just wouldn't. There would never be a situation where it would be everybody against me. That's not my thing. So I personally, I do think Lisa looks bad, but I'm not offended by her and Meredith being too, for the sake of the slogan, two dumb bees telling each other exactly. That doesn't offend me because what's the alternative? Everybody against her? Because hello, nobody liked that when it was about Britney.
No, and I am exactly well, and that's where the other women, we all have to kind of just like put on our we need to stop being so emotional about it and just really think like the big picture. Are we really looking to ostracize two people from our group? We're a cast. Let's think about what this looks like in the big picture of our show because it wasn't like a fun episode. Like even like last week felt a lot less dark. And and Mary even said, Lisa, it was dark around her, that there's like a dark energy, which
Oh,
I
for
think
sure.
if the cast can't move forward, if we're going to have two different teams, that makes me very much dread a Jersey situation coming up.
So none of this is official, but I've seen a lot of rumors online right now about who potentially is not coming back next season. Again, none of this is confirmed or official, but the
Rumors.
the rumors are Bronwyn, which will actually really, really upset me if
Me too.
Bronwyn
I think
doesn't
she's
come back.
great.
Because what do you mean we're not going to see her in her single era or her era divorcing Todd?
See, I
That
don't, that doesn't make any sense to not bring her back,
agreed. So
in
I'm
my
like,
opinion.
that there's no way. There's no way. The other one was Whitney. Whitney, I didn't get a chance to like read everything, but like Whitney was responding to messages saying something like Bravo takes a large percentage, kind of like laying the foundation for when inevitably she isn't announced back. It's like, oh, she already said her grievances with the network. So I think, I don't know, the Whitney thing I could see not being coming back next season, but again, nothing's official until Bravo makes it so. But I just think
Right.
it's interesting.
Interesting you name those two people. And I'm just saying the overlay for the Olympics, the icon on for promoting the Olympics, the way it was shown on TV, there were a lot of people freeze
Yes.
framing it because it straight up covered Whitney. And where it was on the screen, it was just very ill placed for
Yes.
Whitney's setting. But also, Bronwyn was at that setting in the other side, and it obstructed her view too. Not like it was like Whitney's was almost like a joke. It was like just perfectly
Well, I was
obstructing her
like,
view.
do we need this big? Like, can it be smaller? Can it be in the bottom corner? What are we doing?
Exactly. It was so aggressive. I'm like, everybody knows the Olympics are coming up. Like, we get it. It was very, honestly, I felt very violated by the size and how aggressive it was. Yeah, no, it was not a great moment for Whitney, and I felt bad for her for that.
Well, I will say, so I think of those two, I think I could see Whitney not coming back because what did she really contribute this season beyond the beginning of the season where she was like talking about, the issues with the business. I thought that was a really great moment. But other than that, what did she really give us this season?
See, I don't mind a quote unquote boring housewife because it makes sense. She's in the mix. She knows the women. She's friends with them. I don't need I don't need everybody to be a main character all the time. And I feel it's like not her time to be the main character. And I like it when housewives are able to sit back. So that's just a different, and I think I'm the minority in that. A lot of people are, she's boring. She doesn't drive storyline. But if it's a show about friends, it makes sense that she's there.
Yeah,
Well, if there's friends, like Mary said, what are we doing here if we're not friends?
exactly.
What
Exactly.
are we doing here? We're literally all just people at a job who are clocking in.
Well, speaking of not really doing much, I did Bronwyn talk this episode, part two, because I forgot she was there. I really did.
It's so funny. I saw that and I was like, you know what? I don't think she said anything that moved anything. She might have had like a moment, but I don't remember. I'm sorry.
She's really sitting
Remember this
quiet.
moment? Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't.
She's really quiet. And fair enough, they film for like hours and hours and hours and they have to edit it down to like just three parts. So
Right.
fair enough. I'm sure she
And she will
did.
be the main character next
Exactly.
part.
Next
So,
part is going to be solely her and Todd. So I'm sure in her head too, she's like, let me be quiet until it's my turn. And I don't blame
right.
her for that. I wouldn't want to
Right.
draw any extra attention to myself
Exactly.
considering what is about to come.
Exactly. So, point received. Andy's walk off was so like it was so built
Yeah, it
up in the
was.
preview, and then I was just like, the women were so annoying. I can't. I mean, yeah, I can't imagine because I used to be a teacher. It's like sometimes like you versus the world. Trust me, I know. But like, for him to walk off like that, it just felt so cheeky.
It
Like
did.
I kept on thinking of that Britney Spears moment where she's like walking up the stairs and off the stage when she's in that Hawaiian special and she turns around and she's like
Yeah,
and
right?
then she walks up a few more stairs and then she turns around and she's like
Well,
and I'm like, that was Andy Cohen.
yes, it was. And he was giving very much Greek energy when nobody in Greece wanted them ladies in their country.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're closing the restaurant. Don't forget your coat.
Yeah,
No,
and if you
literally, don't forget your coat. Check the table. Make sure you're not coming back.
and even if you did, we're throwing it in the garbage.
Exactly. Like,
We
yeah,
don't
no,
see
we're
it.
done.
Yeah,
We are
Andy's
done.
walk off was very dramatic, but I think the point was proven. You guys shut up. And that was my point. Angie, Kate, and Lisa are insufferable when they're arguing. It's just like they have to be louder. They have to get the last word in. Both of them think they're perfect and they both think they're only responding and none of them are antagonizing the situation. Both of them need to touch grass.
Touch grass. It's a great suggestion. Yeah,
I
it was very big touch grass moment.
I thought it was interesting though when like some of the women were like laughing about Andy walking off stage. Fair enough, it could be nervous laughter, but Mary was checking them. They're like, "This isn't funny. Sit down, be quiet." And they're like laughing and like covering their
Yeah,
faces. I'm with Mary. You know what?
exactly.
I will say this to your point about teaching. When I was in college, I would hate when the professor's speaking and the people behind me are like laughing or talking amongst themselves. I'm like,
So
"Be
rude.
quiet."
So rude.
It's so
So
rude.
rude. Yeah,
So
I had a total moment. I was like, oh my God, I am having teacher flashbacks right now. Like, that was very, in the words of Brittany Bateman, it was triggering.
if you can hear my voice, clap your hands. Very much teacher. That's
Or
what That's what Andy needs to
Come
do.
on. Yeah,
Opa,
and
let's go.
exactly. It just hilarious. It was truly like it was like the substitute lost control of the class was the energy. Sadly, let's just pivot to the Mary Robert Cosby Jr.
Junior.
situation. I first of all love seeing her church. It just brings joy to so
Don't
many
get the people
people.
started, please.
I'm sorry, it's part
Really,
of the
please.
episode, but
Let's
that
not
was
get these
it.
people started.
We started off with her in the church, and she was
I'm making
talking.
zero comments about that Pentecostal church.
No, she brings the people in her church joy. And we had to see her talk to the people in her church about her son and how he's not doing well. And
Yeah.
it's such a community and it makes me really, really sad for them. Um, they did talk about her making amends. That was really hard to watch, not making amends with her mom. That made me sad.
Yeah, that was tough. But when you cut someone off in your family, they could be blood, they can be not. But I think boundaries are so important. And
Right?
if she chose, imagine someone cutting off their mom. To me, that is so indicative because it's your mom.
Exactly. And then just a real quick pivot to the website, check our page for Brooklyn Beckham content
Oh
because
my
that's
gosh.
literally what's happening with Victoria Beckham, David, and their son. Like he's literally cut off his mother. So I agree. If I think there's always something there. If you're cutting off the person who birthed you and you've always had a like close relationship with,
Exactly.
if there's gotta if that something stinks, there's something rotten.
Yeah,
That's just period.
I can't think of any child who would cut off their, to your point, mom. Mothers and sons have that relationships. Mothers
Right.
and daughters have that relationship. Like it's your literal mom. So there
Right.
has to be something there. And if it's better for Mary to protect her peace and her boundaries and her mental health, I am team do you. I'm not mad at her not resolving things with her mom. And I think it's weird that her sister is involved
That
in
was hard.
any sort of negative commentary about her. I think you should protect the family, but again, it's just
I
messy.
protect the family. Sorry, that's two Taylor Swift references today. That's a lot.
Well, what did you make of this? And this I don't agree with. I don't agree with how neither Mary nor her husband have gone to see Robert Jr. in prison. It's a choice. It's a
It's a
choice.
that's such a tough one. I couldn't imagine not seeing somebody I love, but I've also not birthed a human. But I
Nor
can't
have I,
imagine.
but
But I
I
can't imagine like there's somebody that I love and like that's supposed to be like a love like you never have. If there's anybody in this world that I love, I couldn't imagine not seeing them.
Yeah, and I receive sometimes tough love is a thing. So, for instance, if he was, let's say, arrested one time as a like disgruntled child or teen and you want to like have him be scared straight, I receive, don't go bail him out that night. Let him sit in the prison and then the next morning you go get him and take him home. That's a perfect
Preach.
that's a
Preach.
perfect level of like tough love. You need to like sit with your actions. But I don't remember when he went in, but he's not getting out until February.
Right. And it's been since last year. Like it was December,
Exactly. And so you
maybe
haven't,
November.
regardless,
Yeah, but
you've
it's been not overnight, not
you've
2 days, not a week.
correct. You've not seen your son in person. I think that's I wouldn't make that decision.
Yeah, that's not the choice I would make either. Do you want to talk about Britney versus Meredith? That was intense.
Oh my gosh.
They
So
hate each
they
other.
hate each
Well,
other.
yeah, you know what? And I don't know if I was Britney, how I could move forward with Meredith, to be totally honest.
If someone ever okay, I'm not going to insert myself. Just know, dead to me.
Dead.
Dead. We will
Yeah.
never, ever, ever, ever move forward. If you put a label on me such as bigot, um, there's no conversation to be had.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing when you put a label as atrocious as that on the national television, especially in this extremely heightened climate around the Jewish community.
Right.
You putting that label on, and I know Meredith does not like her, but you know damn well, in my opinion, You know damn well Britney is all the things, yes, but she is not stupid. She's not that stupid. You know damn well she is not only going after you because you're Jewish, Meredith, and that's a
Preach.
crazy thing to say.
Under no circumstance, if I dug into every empathetic little pocket of my being, I could not imagine a world in which I can imagine Brittany Bateman being anti-Semitic. There's no world that I believe that she has any ill will towards any community of human beings,
And I
specifically the Jewish community. But I don't see her being a person fueled with hate, and that is the period. End of sentence.
100%. And when Andy was like, does she make you feel that way when you're filming? Like, has she made any sort of anti Semitic remarks? And Meredith was like, no. But she was like, but I just feel targeted from her specifically, and I have to think that's the reason. That's not the reason.
That's your bot. You're being so unbelievably biased around that woman to where you could ruin her career, her
Ex-
reputation. There's literally no evidence unless there's proof, receipts, timeline, screenshots. I don't want to even. It's insane that she would mention it, and shame on Meredith Marks for that.
shame on Meredith
Shame,
Marks,
shame, shame, shame.
because again, she knows what that does. You know, any sort of label like that, you know what that does, especially in this season of cancel culture. Everybody wants a
Right,
gotcha moment, and for you to
right.
put that label on that girl, her first season, or I'm sorry, this is her second season, right?
Second.
Second, whatever. She's a friend of, like, it just
Such a power imbalance in the first
exactly,
place.
exactly.
Yeah. I really, and you know what? And I have to say, I thought, and Brittany admitted it, and she said, and she apologized, and I deeply believe that she was sorry for the seizure-like comment that she made.
Yeah,
I thought that was so tasteless, so rude, so nasty, and so rude. I hated that, and I understand that that just fueled Meredith even more. I get that. I think Meredith is allowed to have every negative feeling she has
agreed.
about Brittany Bateman. She is entitled to however she feels. But for her to take something like that, and let's start off with this nail thing.
The nail
The whole
technician,
thing, the
yeah.
starting off over a nail technician and a review. I respectfully, Meredith, the way that she treats Brittany, to think that Brittany was like had something going on in the back of her head of, ooh, he's anti-Semitic. I'm gonna do all these good to think for Meredith to assume, to insinuate that Brittany had any kind of plan or anything with this person, any kind of conspiracy is just wild.
It's wild
She's
and
she's being so fake because she doesn't treat her with any respect where she would have any kind of idea like that. What is
exactly.
it? Which one is it? Is she a mastermind or is she an idiot? Like you,
Exactly. Exactly. And it's really difficult to have this conversation simply
no
because
offense, Brittany.
right, right. Because, like, as someone who is a marginalized group, someone telling you how you feel is not a thing, and I hate that. So I'm certainly not telling Meredith, you can't feel like this is a targeted thing, but I have to ask Meredith, do you really think that, or is this a lick back for the plane?
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing. If you really, really, really feel that in your soul, that you feel that Britney is only going after you because you're Jewish, that's your truth. I don't understand it. And maybe that's not for us to understand. It's your feeling as a Jewish woman. And none of us can speak to that.
Right.
But my issue is, I don't think she thinks that. I think that this is literally
Mm-hmm.
her trying to get back at Britney.
I don't see a world where that's not 100% true.
And I don't think Britney is dialed in that much per se. And I'm going to speak out of both sides of my mouth because she certainly was dialed in enough to go on TikTok and find videos about Seth and Meredith. So, yes, 100%. But she found that nail technician because Meredith used that nail technician.
Right.
And like I was saying earlier, she's still so green and new in this space. Having someone reach out to you being like, hey, I'll do your nails for free, I'm sure that's really cool to Britney still.
Yeah.
And so she's like, oh, yes, I'll do this. And the person was like, all you need to do is just promote it on social media. She's like, oh, we got it. Like, yeah, me and
Right.
Jared will do this. She probably didn't realize all the backlash that was happening. Maybe we're giving her too much credit. Or maybe she was just like, this doesn't affect me. I still want the free
Right.
product. That could be an argument for
Maybe
sure.
she used, I just figured she used the argument, well, if Meredith used her, why wouldn't I?
Yeah. I
Like,
think,
if
I
it's
don't,
good enough
yeah.
for Meredith, why wouldn't it be good enough for me?
Exactly. I
And like
just,
if I had like a friend like Meredith, I would don't necessarily would do my due diligence and doing
I
the
wouldn't.
research on the person because I'm like, oh, if like you know my girlfriend Michelle, I'm like, oh, if Michelle went to this person, I'm gonna go to them. I'm not gonna question it because she's like a smart person
If
that I
I was in
respect.
Vegas and we went somewhere and you were like, "Oh, I go to this masseuse all the time," I wouldn't be like, "Well, let me go on Yelp. Let me like look
Right,
first." I would just
exactly.
go because you go.
Right,
Like,
right, exactly. I think that's all that was. I don't think there was any. Do I really think Brittany Bateman is out here on the streets looking for people's, religious affiliation and using to
no,
weaponize it? Like Meredith insinuating that that's what's happening is her grasping at straws
agreed.
at this point.
I think maybe it did hurt her feelings because maybe Meredith was like, "You're still using this person." Okay, so let's back it up then. Timeline of when Brittany realized that this person was anti-Semitic, LOL, is
Timeline.
but like, because Meredith kept saying she went into the season upset with Britney over this. It was on the news, their local news station. So she's like, you should have seen this and you still were using them. You still were writing rave reviews about them. So Meredith was like, I don't know. We can't bring this up on the show necessarily, but I'm just letting you know I'm going to seem 10 times more aggressive towards Britney when we're filming for this context, but we're not talking about it on the show. So like, I need you guys to know. So that was context I needed, that Meredith went into the season hating
Right.
her because it did seem oddly intense. That
So
was the missing piece I needed.
Well, and then that goes to the point. Why didn't she mention it before? Why did she use it at this point? Because she was saving this in her arsenal
Agreed.
for when she needed it. And
Right.
after this plane thing, this was her time to drop the bomb.
I think you're absolutely correct. I think she was like, I'm going to use this in my back pocket. She never could have foreseen the plane thing blowing up to what it was. And I think she was like, you know what? This is a perfect response
Yeah.
to that. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
bring it up. And I
Yep.
think, yes. Yeah. I think that's exactly what it was.
All right. Well, now that we've clearly established that under no way do we believe that Britney is anti-Semitic or under any terms, and while I can't stand Jared Osmond, that doesn't mean he's anti-Semitic. He gives me ick like nobody else. But again, these allegations are wild, wild,
Anything,
so inappropriate,
I do
so
not like
inappropriate.
people using buzzwords, using cancel culture, herd mentality to end someone's career, to have people hate them. That's so boring. Use your brain. Like, let's have an actual reason why you don't like somebody. Let's
Right.
not sensationalize it. That's just not cool. I don't like it. And I'm not saying Meredith is invalid for feeling how she wants to feel.
Nope.
I
She has
can't
every reason to
if
feel how she
somebody
feels.
was working with someone who was like anti-black, I would feel away. A million
Right.
percent. A
Right.
million percent.
Yeah.
So let's jump over to the plane thing, even though it gave us nothing. I feel like we would be
Ugh,
remiss without talking about
nothing
the
burger.
plane debacle.
It was just plain. It was a flop. I mean, this storyline ended up being a flop.
It did. So what I don't understand, okay? So part of my issue was, if it was as bad, and Andy said this, if it was bad as all of you women are saying, continue to say, why didn't anybody switch seats with her? Why didn't anybody say, Meredith, tone it down? Like, it's a bit much, okay? You're valid, but
Hmm.
like, let's wait till we land, whatever. And it was because they were in dissent. So to Meredith's point, maybe it didn't go on as long as they said, because now you guys are saying the bulk of it happened in the descent. As someone who takes a lot of airplane trips, the descent is only 30 minutes. 30,
Right.
45, I'll give you if there's weather. So that corroborates Meredith's timeline with, it was not the entire flight, it was
Right.
a short amount of time.
A 6 hour flight, 45 minutes being generous is a small percentage of.
Agreed. And it sounds like they didn't get up because they were in descent and they couldn't undo their seatbelts. So
Right.
to me, I don't think it was as bad as the women say. I really don't.
I really go back and forth with this. The fact that there's no video makes me really, really have a hard time believing it happened. And I think with Meredith having a broken toe, and Andy wouldn't let the mouse go on this one
A
with her
hundred percent.
shaking the seat when she was trying to get over Lisa. I believe that the truth is kind of what Andy said. Like, yes, she's got a bad foot. These planes are big. She's wiggling her way out to, be as non-discreet as possible. I could see a world where she did a little bit more dramatic of a shake. than necessary and was like, "Oh no, my toe."
I think that's what
Um,
happened. I think she was using it to like stand up, and she was like, you know what?
yeah, like, "Oh no, but my foot. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to balance and not wake her up." It's a perfect excuse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
You need,
believe in it. You know what? I see you, Meredith. I would do the same
I
thing.
would do this. By the way, I would do the same thing.
No, I'm petty,
By
and
the
I'd be like,
way, I would do the same thing.
no, I'm petty like that. Like, I know I'm not gonna like
100%.
hurt her. I'm not looking to like hurt her, but I am looking to be like, biatch, like, yeah. And I do believe she was like, yeah, yeah. I believe that Meredith was probably egged on by Lisa a lot during
I
this
think I
flight.
think Lisa antagonized the situation, and I don't think she gets enough flack for that. Because
Yeah.
like, who doesn't know how to antagonize their friend? When you're like out with your
Woo!
friend, and like, let's say there's an annoying girl at the bar, I can see myself being like, oh my gosh, did you see the way she just looked at you? Because like, you're wanting to like cause a little bit of drama, right? When
Right.
you're drunk, because I think they all got on the plane not sober, is the vibe I'm getting. And so yeah, when you like, Lisa, girl, we know what happened on this plane. Like, come
Exactly.
on, come
If
on.
if they don't release this footage during plane part 3, if there's
There's no
footage,
footage.
and
They said that they're not.
I was really, really hoping they were just teasing us, playing a little cat and mouse game with
No,
this,
there's
because
none.
this was a huge waste of a storyline. If it magically in some, universe, magically there's footage that comes out that nobody knew existed, I bet at this point they would hold on to it for years and like make us again play like a cat and mouse game. And I don't like that. Let's not do things that, if it's not on camera, don't put it out there.
Exactly. And I appreciated Andy bringing this up because a lot of people circulated this, and I didn't even remember this until people brought it to the forefront. But when they were in Palm Springs, when Lisa was having a conniption about losing her diamond ring, I'm blanking on how much it cost, and she said it so many times.
80,000.
Thank you. So I'm like, she said it so many times, I really should have it enmeshed in my brain. But yeah, she was like, but you filmed in that situation. He was like, you filmed in that airport bathroom without problem.
Right.
But so you couldn't, if you were so disgusted, you didn't film?
Hmm.
And also, to Meredith's point again, I think I'm more aligned with Meredith on Planegate than I do the other women. I think Mary would be offended by anything, so I don't know if she's the best like moral ground for this. I think anything that is like inappropriate on the plane, Mary would clutch her pearls, and Mary was
Like she
all
did with Andy walking off.
exactly. And Mary was already, being triggered by Meredith because she felt like there's something underlying with Robert Jr. So I think she was using this as a leverage tool to like paint a picture to Meredith saying, hey, you're not well. That plane ride was
Right.
not okay. You're showing signs that my son did, and that's my concern. I think that's the lens Mary was speaking out of more so than Meredith causing a grandiose scene on the plane, in my
Right.
opinion. I think she was using that as a data point to corroborate her theory of her being on substances.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's what I think.
I also think, yeah, let me marinate on that for a second because that kind of got me thinking about something. Well, if people were really worried about Meredith and her possibly being on abuse, like
Abusing
substances,
substances, yeah.
yeah, and like blacking out or something. If I was in that situation, I think what I would do would be like, because you take a video, that doesn't mean you have to share it with anybody. If you're really worried about Meredith, like maybe blacking out, maybe not having control, maybe you record it and say, Meredith, you know what? Privately, not on camera, because some things are meant to be private.
Exactly.
Hello. They are on reality TV.
Yeah.
But like if they really are genuinely worried about her, I feel like they could go to her privately and say, hey, I really don't think you remember what happened. This is between us. This doesn't go anywhere, but this is how you behaved.
Yeah, exactly. That's fair. I'm to your point, I'm putting myself in the situation. If that was the lens I was looking out of, if all of us are speculating that Meredith is really in a bad season right now and she's abusing substances, whatever that means, I think that in this context, if we were not on the descent and what they said happened, she was berating Britney for 6 hours. What I would do is I would get out of my seat. I would probably bend down next to Meredith and say, hey, girl, this is not a good look. I know you're mad, but like let's just table this. And then I'd go back
Hmm.
to my seat. I think that's what I would do if the genuine concern was that. I think that's probably what I would have done. Is I would have gotten
Right.
out of my seat, walked over to her, like bent down like I was a flight attendant and just been like, "Girl, I'm
Yeah.
you're valid,
We
but like
can't.
I don't want this to look bad for you. So like let's just
Right.
stop for now. Just stop."
Yeah. Right.
Why did
Like
no
I
one do
love
that?
you. Like I'm telling you out of love to please stop talking right now. You will thank me later.
Yeah, and even let's say it's not even the substance abuse of it all. Let's say that it's people behind the first class area. I would be like, Meredith, stop. Like people can
Right.
hear. Like that's
Right.
or do even that. Nobody did that.
Okay. So while we're defending Meredith, I want to say something because last week you recommended that I listen to the two T's in a pod episode
With Brittany or with Brittany's.
that
Oh, with Meredith.
with Meredith.
Sorry.
Meredith was on, no problem. Meredith was on, and I didn't have as many takeaways, I don't think, as you did, but I had one really, really strong one. Something she said, if this is true, is a major ick for me on Bronwyn. She said that restaurant story of Todd seeing Seth with another woman at a restaurant in New York. She said that that was fabricated because, yes, Todd was with another woman in New York and like four other people that
Do
she
you
just
mean
happened
do you
to
mean
let that,
Seth?
I'm sorry. No, Todd. Yeah, Seth. Sorry. Yeah, Todd saw Seth out.
Okay, yes.
Sorry. So sorry. It's very early here.
No, it's
Um,
fine, but people, the Todd
no,
being seen with other women is completely different. So yes.
no. Todd was out and saw Seth with like coworkers.
Yep.
And it was told like it was with Seth and one woman. It was like that's the story. We're clutching pearls. And if Bronwyn knew that they were with a group of people and omitted that from her story to
I
make
think she
Meredith look
did.
bad, that looks real. I mean, and you know what? There is evidence.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this Whitney Houston song, but it's called It's Not Right, but It's Okay. And she said, only two of you had dinner. Found the credit card receipt. And that's what we need. We need the credit card receipt from that table. How many people ate? Because
Exactly.
in the receipt that Whitney Houston found, she's like, hey, you said six of you had dinner. I found the credit card receipt. It said two of you. The four of you must be really cheap.
That's my point. It's like you can make anything look bad.
Right.
And so, yes, it's true. Seth was out to dinner with a woman. That's true. But
Right.
zoom out and it was
Right.
a freaking dinner conference.
Right,
Like,
exactly. If you're with four other people, where's the news? So if Bronwyn omitted that information, bringing this to the table, that's really messed up of Bronwyn, and that makes me really feel for Meredith
yeah, I
because that
think
feels like an attack.
that's again, I'm not saying Lisa and Meredith are perfect. We have spent the last however many minutes saying like it doesn't look good for either of them.
Yeah, but you know what? They have points.
But they have points, and that's the thing. That's the point. Do I think we said Brittany was not anti-Semitic, but did she work with someone who was? Yes. Zoom out. Did she know? No. That anything can
Right,
be painted to look a certain way to corroborate your
right.
story, to be spun to tell. I mean, hello, that's literally law. Like that's arguing law.
Hmm. Exactly.
Circumstantial evidence X, Y, and Z. You don't. It doesn't have to be right. You just something you have to prove.
Right. I want to see those. I want to see the restaurant receipt. Period. Bring
Yeah.
out the receipts. That's the receipt that ends that story. Right
Exactly.
there. That
Exactly.
table's receipt ends the story. Where
And
were they?
also, to all of the women's credit, it has to be annoying having someone constantly talk about your husband. And I'm not just talking about Seth because they do go in on Seth a lot for seasons. That sucks. It would suck for Lisa to have people talk about John Barlow. It would suck for Bronwyn having people talk about Todd. So like received, like that's annoying. That
Right.
sucks. But they all do it.
Right. Well, and they've agreed not to anymore.
Yeah.
Like it started out in the small group with Bronwyn begging, like, please stop talking about my family. But they all like made an agreement. We're not going to do that anymore when they were
Exactly.
spilling the tea. So,
But they all do it.
but they all do it and they're not stopping.
Speaking of Todd, next season or next week will be the final part of the reunion, and it was already leaked that Todd and Bronwyn are separated, but we're gonna learn more about that next week. So we will be back what's today, honestly? Next Wednesday to talk
Yeah.
about that bombshell, although we've already kind of talked about it a little bit, but we'll get more insight. As always, put your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you check out our live discussion so you can talk in real time with other taste buds, and we will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.